Okay, I think we are good to begin. So welcome to everybody today. Today's session is all about finding more information about the HPP, the High Potentials Programme. I know we did a webinar a couple of months ago, so we've got a little bit more detail in terms of dates and some of the subject areas around the webinars and the application activities and other things that are built up into the programme. So we've got a little bit more information to share today, but ultimately what we're happy to do is answer questions throughout. So if people do have any questions, put them into the Q&A or the chat box. We're happy to ask questions rather than it just be kind of a full presentation as such. So please do speak up if there's anything that comes to mind. And just to kind of clarify that this program is part of the Digital Skills Initiative that we're working in partnership with the Digital Greenhouse. We have other initiatives, as some of you may already be aware, such as our digital leader workshops, apprenticeship programs, and the Google Squared online courses. So this program, this HPP, ties into that wider digital skills initiative. Some of you might have met me before. So my name's Carl. I'm from Avado. I've been working with the organisation for nearly 7 years now, and my role specifically in relation to this project is working closely with the Digital Greenhouse on these learning initiatives to make sure that it's fit for purpose ultimately, and to make sure that it's having all of our programs are having relevant business impact. Kind of my wider role is to work with different organisations to help build learning academies and learning solutions as well. So previously worked entirely really in the kind of learning sector, if you will. Did an apprenticeship program back in 2005, so I've been an apprentice and kind of gone through that journey. And that's a little bit of a short introduction on me, and I'll pass you over to Ben now for his introduction.
Super. Thanks so much, Carl. Hello, everyone. I know I can't see you, but I'm where you can see me. So yeah, my name is Ben Weinstock. I'm the learning strategist at Blenheim Chacot. I've been with BC for a little over a year. And what that means is, I sort of guide the learning strategy for both Blenheim Chacot centrally and also the portfolio companies. So for those of you who don't know, Blenheim Chacot's the leading digital venture builder in the UK. Avado is one of BC's companies. And we are, doing everything we can to reimagine what training and development looks like in the workplace. A little bit about my background. I came from Harvard Business School, where I was doing research on entrepreneurship, and I'm trying to bring the HBS case study methodology, which is based on the Socratic method, which some of you might know, to the types of learnings and trainings that we're going to be doing in this program.
Brilliant. Thanks, Ben. So yeah, I'll pass back over to you, Ben, to begin the presentation, and then I'll be talking about kind of certain aspects of the program a little bit later throughout today. Just one thing, just please forgive the lack of professional background. I've just had my second child, who's 4 weeks old. So that's why I've got Pampers in the corner and the baby mat behind me. Yeah, not quite as professional looking as you, Ben, but yeah, so please do forgive that, and I'll now pass over to you.
I think we'll forgive you, Carl. It adds a little bit of character.
Yeah, I also have bags under my eyes and all of that. So yeah, please forgive all of that. Thank you. Thanks, Emma.
Wonderful. Well, thanks so much. As you can see, once again, the HPP program it's a joint effort really between Blenheim Chacot, Avado, and Digital Greenhouse. And I will breeze through some of this intro bit because you can see a lot of this online. But as Carl already mentioned, HPP is part of the Economic Development Program's efforts to develop and upskill on Guernsey and across Ireland to sort of grow homegrown talent and to bring a sort of rejuvenated learning culture to the island. So what does it actually look like? Well, it's this 12-week virtual program, and the cohort will be 20 to 30 of you. And the whole goal is to, help create and sort of improve your leadership capabilities to drive change on island. So as I said, BC will be leading this together with Avado. Let's get there. And we'll be doing this primarily through interactive sessions, but also some module content that you will do on your own time. And we'll get into each of those elements in just a bit. but it's quite important to say that this is already funded, so you don't have to worry about cost. Hooray, I know many of you are cheering. And the goal is to equip you with the following. To give you those business skills that will enable you to sort of further develop your leadership skills, get those mindsets and processes that you need to really drive effective change on island, and think a little bit more critically about what a more formalized process and system for innovation looks like, perhaps in your business now, or maybe as an employee of States of Guernsey, and what that can translate to in the future. All right, and with that, this is going to be a mixed cohort, so it's open to both employees of States of Guernsey, but also the private sector, and we think that that'll be really effective to sort of facilitate this cross-sector discussion and interaction, so we can all learn from each other. All right, so a little bit about the ideal cohort and candidates. As I said, we're really hoping for 20 to 30. It might be a little bit less, might be, right in that wheelhouse, but that's really the sort of most effective size to make sure that, you can really get close with others in the cohort, but also that, ensuring that our webinars, remain very much participation based, and everybody really has a good chance to engage and participate. And as an ideal candidate, you'll have somewhere between 6 or 10 years of overall work experience. This is rough guidance. So if you're a little bit outside of that range, we would still encourage you to apply. But you will also have at least 1 year of service with your current business or States of Guernsey. And most importantly, have the curiosity to further develop your skills and a real eagerness to learn. So what will the whole thing look like from your perspective? Well, I know this is a lot of information to put up at once, but hopefully it gives you a little bit of a sense of how these pieces fit together, which we'll take one by one in just a second. We'll have a kickoff at the beginning of April, and both Avado and BC will lead this. This is where you'll get to meet your cohort to understand what's actually involved in the program and what to expect over the next 12 weeks. And also, once again, just to sort of get that cohort feel, because we really believe that that's an effective way for learning. But we have all these other elements that once again, we'll sort of go through in just 1 second here. So there are 5 key elements to the program, and we'll take them one by one. So first off, interactive seminars. This will be led by BC, and we'll have 4 of these over the 3 main modules. All right, and does anybody know what the Socratic method is? Somebody would want to type it into the box. Nobody backs themselves to say what the Socratic method is. Perhaps you've encountered it in your uni days, or, well, in some senses, the Socratic method is doing exactly what I'm doing now. It's a format of dialogue rather than just, speaking at people to get them to learn something. So that's really the approach that we're going to take in these interactive seminars. It's going to be just as much, unlocking and surfacing all the knowledge that's in all of our heads, rather than just showing up to listen to a teacher talk at you for an hour. All right. And so we'll focus on these digital and entrepreneurial mindset skills. And you might be asked to do a little bit of pre-reading or watch a short video beforehand. And after the session, you'll be asked to think about how you can apply the learnings to your current role. All right, and this will be sort of framed by concrete examples. So we'll introduce frameworks that you can apply to your business, and then provide these concrete frameworks so you have a better sense of what they'll look like in practice, because we're interested in practical training. Super. Okay, and so that conversation will continue in our digital learning community, which we'll talk about in 1 second. But first, I will hand it over to Carl to talk about the online modules.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, Ben. So just to give you an understanding of what these online modules are all about, you'll find as we're going through today's presentation, you've got kind of a series of learning activities. And these online modules are about giving you kind of that foundational knowledge and kind of that grounding before you attend your kind of future webinars and your application activities, which we'll have more details on in a second. And effectively, you'll have free learning modules across the program, and each module is about 12 hours worth of learning. You might find it's a little bit less, a little bit more, depending on your prior kind of skills and previous experience. But ultimately, you'll have about 12 hours worth of learning across 4 weeks for each of the modules. And the purpose of it is that you work kind of through an online module, you work your way through kind of at your own pace. So across the 4 weeks where you'll have 12 hours to complete, how you want to section that will be up to you. So you might want to do that kind of 3 hours a week across those 4 weeks. You might want to do it in kind of a little bit more of a bulk. So you might want to do kind of 6 hours one day, 6 hours another day. But you'll probably find a pattern and a rhythm that suits you. So these are, like I say, online modules, and the 3 topics that we'll be effectively covering is about kind of leading teams and individuals to success. So that looks at things like how to achieve the right balance in your team, how to manage remote teams in a digital environment. We'll then be looking at change management, which we're looking at kind of why businesses change and some of the approaches that are being used to change management. Of course, you'll understand over the last 2 years we've seen that kind of change being kind of part of everyday, day in, day out businesses now. So it's kind of looking at how to plan and implement that change as well. And there'll also be project management as well, which will look at things like the importance of projects and strategy, how to successfully manage them, how to manage them in different kind of scenarios and different contexts. So we'll have each of those modules delivered across kind of 4 weeks each, which will be across the whole 12 weeks. Hopefully that makes sense. So Ben, yeah, if you can go on to the next component.
Super. Yeah, thanks so much, Carl. And this is also an Avado effort.
Yeah, so if you can share the full details, Ben, that's wonderful. So we'll then be looking at the customized webinars. So the purpose of kind of each component is that you'll do 4 weeks of the online learning, which we talked about, and then we'll be delivering at the end of those 4 weeks, we'll be delivering a customized webinar on that particular topic. So the purpose of these webinars are normally about 1 hour long. Webinars arguably is not the right term, in the sense that it's not just the case that you're going to be talked at from the facilitator. It is interactive. We'll be asking for input from people, an opportunity to ask questions. But effectively, you'll have 3 of these sessions at the end of each of those online learning modules, which we talked about earlier. So they'll all be talking about those relevant topics that we've talked about, like change management, project management, and leading teams. So the first webinar that we'll be looking at will be leading teams effectively in a digital world. So this is looking at kind of teams and working practices, in particular over the last 2 years, and what the future trends are. So it will provide some kind of practical examples and things you can take away. The second module, we titled it "Follow the Leader." So it shows that kind of equipping you with kind of how to effectively manage change across your organization. So it looks at kind of people management element as well as kind of processes. So that's kind of how you can integrate that within the role, and kind of, like I said, looking at the people, the processes, and all the things that kind of go into change management. And then the final module we'll be looking at is sharing more details, what we call demystifying Agile and Scrum. So again, don't worry if you're not too familiar with any kind of Agile principles or Scrum principles. This is kind of what you'll be learning really throughout the whole course. And one of the sessions is looking at kind of some of the Agile principles, again, detailing some kind of practical examples and things that you can then, hopefully, tools and techniques you can apply in your own job role. So it's to kind of share some kind of more information on Agile and Scrum, because we've probably all heard of it. Some people have kind of ranging knowledge in those topic areas, so it's about bringing those to life. And again, the whole purpose, what you'll find, the theme throughout the learning modules, the webinars, the application activities, which I'll be talking about next, the whole kind of theme that you'll hopefully feel throughout, this is what we aim for, is that there's impact and there's something you can take away at the end of it. So of course we want it to be an enjoyable learning experience, but the key value is actually thinking, well, how can I implement that within my job role? How can I take things forward? And it's actually kind of taking those principles back into your world of work. So you'll hopefully find that's kind of a key theme, that it's not just the learning experience that's important, it's also kind of, does it have business impact? Can I take things forward afterwards? And yeah, that's kind of one of the things that we'll try and promote and kind of evidence really throughout the whole learning program. So yeah, hopefully that shares some more information on this part of the program. So feel free, Ben, to go on to the next.
Super. Thanks, Carl. And so hopefully people are starting to get a sense that we're really going to be accomplishing all these things through a very mixed modality of learning, right? So on the one hand, you get to do the online modules at your own time, whereas we also have these very live interactive sessions for you to apply some of those learnings, to expand upon them, and to really think about how you can apply them to your role so that we can develop all those leadership skills. So as gestured to earlier, we'll also have a digital learning community. And that will be through Hive Learning, which is another one of BC's businesses. And I believe there is a broader Guernsey Hive Learning site called the Learning Hub, but we'll have our own dedicated one for HPP. So this will be a place where you can access the interactive seminars, the materials that you need to prep ahead of time, and also be able to share materials with each other, maybe some challenges that you're facing, ideas to overcome those challenges, and also just do a little bit more of that sort of cohort bonding networking. So there'll be a dedicated platform for that with a community manager who will help moderate some of those discussions and encourage everybody to participate and to contribute to the platform. All right. So this is a little bit an example of what it might look like. You'll have a sort of central dashboard. BC Build was a program we ran at BC internally, but it'll look roughly like this and will be once again dedicated to the HPP cohort. And we'll have a demo of that at the kickoff session. Super. So with that, I'll turn it over to Carl again for the application activity.
Brilliant. Thanks for that, Ben. So yeah, the application activity, this is where probably the best way to look at this is that kind of what you've been learning up to this point is about theory, kind of taking some principles on board. And what the application activity focuses on is a little bit more of the practical stuff. So it's an opportunity to kind of look at action plans, kind of how to apply it, how to reflect, and kind of have that discussion, talk about how you can take it forward in your organization. Excuse me. So what you'll find with this particular kind of component of the program is that we will put you into working groups of normally about 5 or 6. And what you'll be working on is, because there'll be people from different organizations, admittedly it will be difficult to kind of focus on kind of one particular business objective of an organization. So because people will be from different organizations, what we'll be working on is a case study, and we'll be building that case study around kind of some of the themes that we're hearing, or some of the challenges and problems that we're hearing across the wide range of different businesses. So they'll be on different organizations. And effectively what you'll be doing as part of that application activity is kind of working together, looking at kind of a briefing paper, so looking at a business report, then looking at a project implementation plan. So looking at building that project plan, building that timeline, building kind of everything that you would need to go through a successful plan. And then there would be a presentation at the end to discuss and showcase that as well. So again, with this particular activity, what I've mentioned previously, it's about, well, can you then kind of take that, shift it then to your organization and apply it. So this is where trying to find that topic or that area to focus on is really crucial to get kind of added value from it. So probably the best way to look at this is all about kind of the practical side, creating those action plans and how to implement it. So yeah, that's kind of concluding really the main type of learning activity. So hopefully kind of this whole piece that we've discussed is that kind of give you more of an understanding of what to expect. We've got kind of dates and other key details afterwards, but I'll pass over to Ben to conclude it. I think it's the graduation section, Ben, is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Super. Yep. So as Carl said, this is all about embedding the key learnings that we're going to sort of go through together in these 3 buckets of leading teams, change management, and then project management. And it culminates in this application activity, which you'll present during the sort of graduation event, where you'll be certified as having completed the first High Potentials program. Super. So with that, next steps, as you see, this chart goes into the past. but that's because we did have a register interest page on at the end of 2021. But now I think Ben Ratton at Digital Greenhouse will send the application link into the chat. The application for HPP is open, and you'll find a little bit more information about what we're actually looking for by going to that link. And the applications will stay open until early March. But we'll review those on a rolling basis and close that window in mid-March or so because we're aiming for a kickoff at the beginning of April. All right, and those who are accepted and offered a place into the program will sign a statement of commitment. Of course, because the program is already funded, we want to make sure that everybody who's offered a spot is really committed to participating fully and agrees to go through the program in its entirety. All right, and so as I said, the program will go live at the beginning of April and it'll end at the very beginning of July. So it's about 12 weeks. And as you saw from a bit earlier, we're going to be covering a lot, but very, very valuable skills that you need to more successfully and effectively manage your teams and to once again drive change across Guernsey. So with that, here's a little snapshot of what the 9 live sessions will be. And this includes the kickoff and graduation. So as Carl said, the 3 customized webinars are this leading teams effectively in a digital world, follow the leader, and demystifying Agile and Scrum. And the rest are the Blenheim Chacot interactive sessions that map onto each of those buckets of leading people, Agile, managing change, and then project management. All right. And so once again, these are the dates. These will be up when this deck gets, I think, shared on the Digital Greenhouse website. But beyond that, we would love to have some time to answer questions if any of you have them. And thank you, Ben, for adding that link. I appreciate it. No questions?
Maybe we covered everything, Ben. It was
yeah, well done us.
Informative, yeah.
All right, I'll give it just another okay. How does one guarantee acceptance? So presumably what you mean by guarantee acceptance is you find out that you're accepted. And as we said, we're going to be reviewing them on a rolling basis. So probably in the next 2 weeks or so, we'll start sending out initial, letters saying that you've been accepted, and next steps after that. Did that answer your question, Ricard? Hopefully. All right. Super. Well, love your enthusiasm. Yeah, it will be. It'll be great. It'll be a really cool program. And thank you all for coming today to hear a little bit more about it. And we definitely hope to see some applications from you and your team.
Sorry, just another question's popped up. So how many applications have you received in the past? That's from Lisa Jones.
How many applications have we received in the past? Well, because this is the first time we're running the program, there are no set metrics for how many applications we've received. We have had a lot of interest in the program, which is encouraging. So if you are interested and you want to, make sure that you have an opportunity for a slot, I would encourage you to just, go for it and, fill out the application, and we'll get back to you soon thereafter.
And I just want to add to that as well for people on the call. If you're listening to this and you think you've got colleagues or people in your organization who you think this might be suitable for, feel free to pass on those details. It's not limited to a certain number of places from a certain number of organizations. So if you are listening to this and you've got colleague or colleagues that might be interested or might benefit from this, then absolutely feel free to forward on this information. And just on top of that, any questions that do come up, so conscious after these events, these webinars, questions maybe come up afterwards. So just, you've got the Digital Greenhouse, you've got myself, you've got Ben, who are all available to answer any questions that you may have, or set up any discussions if you wanted to find out more about them.
Super.
So another question that's popped up. Sorry, just one moment. Are you guys happy that we reference this learning as part of our annual CP? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. This is something that can contribute towards continuing professional development. We've seen it, yeah, not this program, but other programs. We've seen that be contributed towards kind of people's own L&D and own kind of achievements and things that you can put onto your own CPD log. So absolutely, yeah, that's something that you can do.
Super.
And just a comment from Stephen, yeah, made your application, which is great. No further questions. Yeah, fantastic. Another question from Emma, can we use the greenhouse during the 12 weeks? I would imagine yes, but I don't know if there's someone from Ben, I don't know if you're there from the digital greenhouse, this is digital greenhouse, Ben. Don't know if you're there to potentially answer this question, but if not, don't worry, Emma, we'll come back to you. But I would imagine that would be okay, but I do not want to speak on behalf of the greenhouse and give their response. But yeah, we responded in the chat.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, thank you. So any other questions from anybody before we wrap up today?
Looks like not. Well, thank you everybody again for coming and hearing a little bit more about it. Thank you so much, Carl, for your time as well. And we're really looking forward to seeing you all, hopefully your applications and then possibly on the course as well.
Yeah, great stuff. So we'll give you half an hour back because I know this was scheduled to, I think, take place until 1 o'clock. So yeah, any questions, please reach out. So yeah, thank you to everyone that's attended, and hopefully it's been informative, and hope to see you all soon.
All right.
Take care.
Thanks all. Bye-bye.
Thanks everyone. See you now.